Whoever you think wins this fight, you're probably wrong. Yeah. You're wrong, buddy. Which might be right. You also might be wrong, but then like part of your answer
might be right, but then like a little bit.
I'm just gonna be honest, bro. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I think I actually know who's gonna win this fight. So I have gone through all of the One Piece, right? I went back. I looked at previous manga chapters, previous anime, every fight Luffy had, every time Kizaru popped up in the story. I've looked at every single feed I could possibly find to figure out an answer to this question of who is going to win, Luffy or Kizaru. And ladies and gentlemen, I've come to an answer. Yeah, I've come to an answer. And I'm gonna just pull this picture up to show you guys who wins this fight. It's so obvious that no one, like, it actually, Oda literally put it in front of us from the literal beginning and we all just completely missed it. Man, who is going to win this fight is no other than Bogart himself. This is the part where you're supposed to laugh. I'm joking. The actual person who like actually wins this fight, like actually wins this fight, is Monkey D. Luffy. Now, before you go in the comments and be like, no, but I thought you said, bro. Listen, let me explain to you why Luffy is going to win this fight and why I believe that he's strong enough to win this fight. And to help us decipher why Luffy wins this fight, I made a list like any other regular person would do when they're trying to decipher who's whose. And I essentially just listed everything Luffy has, the pros he has, and then basically I made a pros and cons list. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you're talking about a female and you're rating her pros and cons, because y'all know every female has one of those. So okay, so I'm gonna show y'all this list, because this list is actually a pretty good list. Starting off with Luffy's pros, he has Toon Force. Now Toon Force, we all know, it's been very contentious what Luffy's Toon Force is. If it's like a very minimalistic Toon Force, if it's just like a stronger Toon Force that's like gonna come in like the future, but like Oda hasn't really got there yet. He has Toon Force, so we cannot look past that. I mean, bro. Hey, episode 1091 of One Piece. Let me just show you guys what this man was able to do. He's literally swinging on lightning, my guy. Lightning. And like I said, Toon Force is not something to be messed around with. He can manipulate lightning and things, otherworldly elements like that. He can manipulate the ground. Anything he touches, he can turn to rubber. Anything that Luffy touches turns to rubber. But Toon Force is a really big thing when it comes to Kizaru, but like we're gonna get there and we're gonna compare them in a second. But then another thing Luffy has is insane stamina. He is a mythical zone. What do mythical zones have, and zones in general just have? They have insane stamina and they have insane durability. He has both of these things, which if you honestly think about it, he was able to, because like this was before we knew he had a mythical zone devil fruit. He was able to go up against Katakuri for hours, Crocodile, Arlong, like just people with not great stamina but like good stamina. They wouldn't have been able to fight these fights, and Luffy was able to hold his own in a lot of these fights and continue to fight on and on and on and on and on. And we didn't even know he had a mythical zone devil fruit. That's insane. He has many feats. If I showed you every feat that I have to counter everything you could argue about Kizaru, this video would be like the entirety of One Piece, because Luffy has a lot of feats against really strong people. Just look at Wano. I mean, just look at Wano. Just look at everything that he's doing right now against Kaido and Tail. I want you to give me a reason why he wouldn't be able to do the same thing on Kizaru. Now, plot armor. Plot armor, him being the MC, I mean, guys, let's just be honest, bro. We're in the final saga, so there's gonna be a lot of that plot armor and MC type of thing going on. But then again, Oda's really good when it comes to that, so I wouldn't even expect it to be that bad. And now, when I say plot armor and him being the MC, there's been this, like, not a lot of people have been saying this, but I've been seeing people say that, like, oh, the worst generation, they're taking all these L's, so Luffy's gonna have to lose to the Admiral. No, buddy, no. Why do you think Luffy is Luffy? Tell me why you think Luffy is Luffy. None of Law, Kid, none of that matters when it comes to that, because Luffy is Luffy. Him being the MC just gives him a buff of his own. Now, I might have been trolling with this one, but like the only con I could find for Luffy, like genuinely putting him up against Kizaru, was the fact that if he gets hungry. We all know if that man gets hungry, it's GG. Now let's go into Kizaru. Now, it was hard. It was actually extremely hard to find good pros for him, because he has no feats, because he's barely in the story. Like, we've only seen him in a couple manga panels and a couple anime episodes. It genuinely was so difficult. The only ones I could find to start with was him being a Logia and specifically a light man. But obviously this is gonna come back to bite him in the butt, because although he's a Loki, he's got a really strong devil fruit. He's a Loki, he's a light man. See, we get into that argument of is Kizaru really the speed of light, and how fast really is Kizaru? And that's very debatable in One Piece. Because if Kizaru's light speed, then it means that a whole bunch of other people would technically be light speed, and then we just
get into this whole power, speed, the boggles, and it's like...
Quite frankly, I don't have the brain power to even think about that. I like to keep my power scaling to a minimum, so we're gonna leave that alone. But even if he was a light man, Luffy would still be able to catch up to him. You know what? We're gonna leave the speed equation out of this, so I don't hurt my head and the viewers don't hurt their head watching this too. Next, he has very powerful mid-range attacks, and this is actually really good when he's going up against Luffy, because Luffy has no mid-range attacks. Only one he really has is the one where he's in gear 4 and then he's like using the he's like this, and then wait, what did I just do? Like, you know what I'm talking about though, when like he's in gear 4 and like he does that. I'm gonna just put a picture on the screen, bro. This that's what I'm talking about. Kizaru's light mid-range attacks are insane. He literally can go from all the way over here. It's light beam. It's wraps. Where do you think all the passive piece of technology and their light lasers came from? So that's one issue, right? And then the other pro, like, I really couldn't find any pros. The other pro I found was that he's an admiral. But Luffy just defeated a Yonko, so like we all know Yonkos and admirals, they're like,
some are stronger than others, it really depends on who they're massed against and how their like, devil fruits and abilities correspond with each other.
That really doesn't matter at all, because again, Luffy just defeated a Yonko. And Luffy's also a Yonko himself. It really doesn't do anything for Kizaru, in all honesty, really doesn't. Now, Kizaru's cons. He's not the MC. I'm sorry to break it to you, Kizaru, but you might have to lose this fight, my boy. It's looking really bad for you, because the worst generation, all the worst generation got packed up. Kid, Shanks dealt with him. Law, Blackbeard dealt with him. I don't see Oda going in the direction of making all the worst generation take L's, just like how they did back in Sabaody. I feel like Oda is gonna use this as an opportunity to like, okay, Law got packed up, Kid got packed up. They still have work that they have to do, but Luffy has gone through so much, right, that he's not gonna lose to Kizaru, because like he wants to set him up like this is gonna be that like power scaling and just the terms and like powers and all that, like that's what's gonna separate the boys from the men in this arc, right? So that is gonna be a huge factor. Also, going up against Toon Force, we've seen him manipulate lightning, we've seen him manipulate the ground. We can assume that he can manipulate a lot of things, including Kizaru's light attacks. And although I gave Kizaru a pro because he has really good mid-range, like powerful attacks like that, right? What good will that do him if Luffy can just grab it just like how he did to lightning? So although it's a pro, it can also bite him in the butt, because Luffy can just grab it, spin around, and just throw it right back at him. That's not really like I don't bro, like bro, what do you want? What else do you want me to say? What other pro or con? Not even con. What other pro do you want me to give Kizaru? I literally cannot give him anything else, chat. I cannot. There is absolutely no way he can win this fight unless he either his stamina with gear 5 runs out, something with gear 5 holds him back, or just something that Oda pulls out of his ass that like it affects this fight. There is no way Luffy's gonna lose this. And this is not even dick suck. Because, like, what do you want me to say Kizaru's gonna do? It's gonna speed blitz him. We saw Luffy keep up with Kaido. Shanks also was keeping up with him in Film Red. Let's not keep forgetting about. See, that's what I wanted to bring up too, y'all. So if you've seen Film Red, you know there was a feat with Shanks where Shanks essentially speed blitzed Kizaru, kinda, which is why this whole light speed attack thing, it's where that comes from. So although he may be light speed, Gear 5 Luffy more than likely is gonna be able to keep up with. So you can't say the speed blitz. You can't say he's just gonna overpower him with his light attacks, because again, Luffy's just gonna dodge all of them. He can throw them back at him. He can manipulate the ground. That's not gonna work. Oh yeah, another con for Kizaru. He's not a melee fighter. From what we've seen, he used a sword and he used mid-range attacks. We have never seen him use his fist to fight close range. That's literally Luffy's main attack and like his style. Right, that's another issue. So guys, I don't know what you want me to say. I don't even know why I was so torn on like how this would go when I already knew the answer. I just didn't want to believe it, because I didn't want I don't want to say this and then he end up losing. And then I look stupid and have to make a follow-up video saying that, oh yeah, you know what I just said? Yeah, I was wrong. So, hey, by all means, if I'm wrong, there'll be a video coming out next week when the chapter drops that like, yeah, I was wrong about Luffy versus Kizaru. But until then, this video is going to be titled, I know who wins this fight. Because I do. I don't see Luffy losing this. There's just, I don't see him losing this. There's no way. There's no way. I am chalking this fight up to Luffy is going to win extremely high diff. If he somehow loses this, it's gonna be because Oda pulled something out of his ass, Luffy ran out of gear 5, or something else gets in the way of it. And if none of those are the reason he loses this fight, I just might drop the show. But that's all for me. I gave my 2 cents. Like I said, I spent, you know what I'm saying, the majority of the week coming up with this beautiful list. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully I made it easy for you to understand this fight, because even if, as though I'm still talking about this, I still have my doubts, but I have faith in the Straw Hat Man himself, Monkey D. Luffy. So I'll see y'all again when the chapter drops.